Welcome to Green TV. Green TV is about Green Party candidates, independent Green Party candidates, and positive Green New Deal solutions, eco jobs for the economy, solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, weatherization jobs, conservation jobs. On Green TV today is Kate Alexandrova and Earl Post. Earl Post is a geothermal heating and cooling specialist and expert. Earl, welcome to Green TV. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off when you were a youngster. Where were you born, Earl? Where'd you grow up?
Wow. I was born in Maryland, and obviously I was an only child, but
makes two of us.
Yeah, and so I moved out to the suburbs and started a family. My beautiful wife, and I have 5 beautiful children.
What brought you into the geothermal renewable energy business, Earl?
Well, I had been in the heating and air conditioning business for quite some time, and well, it's about 29 years now. And about 15, 18 years ago, I really started to pay real close attention to the renewables. And I thought geothermal was something that we could really not only be profitable with, but also make a difference in the community.
Now, a fascinating statistic of all the new energy production created in the United States last year, 95% of it in the first quarter of 2014 was in renewables. 74% solar, 20% wind, and 1% geothermal. And of course, full disclosure, I've got to say that the company that Earl works with, Harvey Huddle, installed my geothermal heating and cooling system at my house already 5 years ago, and it works terrific. It immediately cut my heating and cooling cost by 2/3. Why would somebody want to put geothermal heating and cooling, other than what I've just said, in their house?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of different reasons that people put geothermal in their home. The same as solar and wind. Some folks, we call it geo bling. They just want to know, they want their friends to know that they're really trying to help the environment and to be proactive and and have a little bit of bragging rights, if you will. There are the other individuals that just want to save money, just flat out save money, and they do. The other possibilities or realistic things that happen, people that have oil and fossil fuels, wow, do we make a difference. There is a huge energy savings as far as with geo versus the fossil fuels out there. So in showing that to the client, we basically, we go into their home and we show them how to save money, and it's pretty informative.
But in order
Sure.
to save that money, you have to invest first, as
Absolutely.
far as I know. And I believe there are some incentives that your proposals come with. Could you please tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. There's a lot of, in every state in the country, there's a lot of different variables out there as far as credits and rebates, and it can go from manufacturers to the state that you live in. Some states don't offer it, and then you can go to the federal credit. There's a federal credit which is 30% of the total cost of the installation, which is huge, absolutely. So there's a lot of different things out there that are out there for the homeowners to be able to reach out and use to pay for this. Now, yes, it is a true capital investment for their property and for their home, but I will tell you that 99 times out of 100, it's about a 20% return on investment. I mean, you're making a great return on your investment, but it is a capital investment. You have to put some money out front. And we do offer different kinds of financing programs to really help and incentivize that in moving towards the geo world.
20% in return on investment. There's not many places you get. You can't get that putting your money in the bank today,
No.
right? And the stock market the last few years since the big crash in 08's done okay. I don't know that it's, for most of us, I don't know that it's done 20% a year. I would just mention my example, and I wonder if how this compares to the average examples, where I'll go with this story, Earl.
Sure.
And you're watching Green TV, where we focus on Green New Deal positive solutions. And right now we're talking about geothermal heating and cooling with Earl Post and Kate Alexandrova. Got it. Earl, in my case, my system at my house in North Springfield cost $31,000.
Okay.
Of course, I got the 30% of that back on my federal tax credit. And then the system, Kate, to raise the point that you were making, the average home, the value of the home, when you install geothermal heating and cooling, goes up 7%. Now, the 7% of the value of my home at that time, that was a $22,000 increase in the value of the home. So you see right there, as soon as it was turned on, the system for me had paid for itself. And then, as I mentioned, it cut the heating and cooling cost, because it's one system that does both heat and cool, by 2/3 of the cost. And there's where you start talking about the return on 20% investment.
Do we really have enough sun here in our neck
For
of the
solar?
woods? Yes.
For solar, sure.
Sure.
It's yes, it's more advantageous the closer you get to the equator, but obviously the degrees that we use, and I'm familiar with the solar aspect too, it definitely is a viable solution.
What's the average price of a system at Harvey Hollow, where you've sold geothermal heating and cooling systems? What's the average ballpark figure that folks invest in a geothermal system? Was it close to the figure that I spent, or is it less?
It's a great question. I tend not to focus on what it cost, and this isn't to try to tiptoe through the tulips, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's a more direct answer, and I think the correct answer would be the payoff, generally speaking, is about an 8-year turnaround, no more than 8 years. 6 to 8 years, that system will not only save you money, but it will pay for itself within a 7-8 year period. And then after that 7 or 8 year period, it's cash in your pocket every single month that you don't have to spend to the utility companies.
Last week on Green TV, we had David Freeman here. And David Freeman is a famous engineer and attorney, led the Tennessee Valley Authority, the New York Power Authority, the Los Angeles Power Authority out there. And David Freeman made the point that all these renewable energies that we're talking about building, like geothermal, you basically, as in the situation you just described, once you've built it, your energy, you say after 8 years, it's free energy.
And here's the really nice part about the Geo is that what it does, especially for, let's call it, my age group and older, it stabilizes your output of income or your output of expenses per month. As utility costs rise, your savings happen faster and faster. If you think of it in that tense, the more that the utilities rise or the cost of fuel go up, the quicker and the more that you save on a monthly basis. Because that geothermal system is based upon the ground temperature, and it's very stable and it's very constant, unlike the air-to-air exchange, like a normal typical HVAC system, which is very accessible to the climate outside. Like yesterday, it was 20 degrees. Well, heat pumps were working and they weren't doing really well. But geothermal is still putting out 105, 107 degree temperature at your register. So it really doesn't matter about the outdoor temperature, and that's why the savings is really super central, because it's constant. And it works super well. I did want to say one other thing about the benefits. Very new legislation had passed. There's what we call now TREC credits. TREC credits are thermal renewable energy credits in the state of Maryland. And what they do is they have assigned an amount of dollars worth each credit, and each ton of loop that is in the ground is assigned an amount of credits. So for instance, right now, well, let's say a few weeks ago, each ton of heating and cooling was worth 6 credits. Well, each credit was worth about $15. And you get that paid back through an aggregator over a 10-year period, just like solar. So what I find now is that when I'm quantifying to a client geothermal and its return of investment, it's even great. It's even faster now, because an average, let's call a 4-ton system, 5-ton system, you're going to get another $4,000 back over a 10-year period. So it's super.
What about the maintenance costs?
Great question. Maintenance costs are minimal, because it's like a system. Let's say, do you know how your system, your current, if you have a heat pump or an air conditioner where you have the outdoor unit? Well, that outdoor unit is, again, it's outside with the dust and the dirt and the snow and the kids bouncing balls off of it and hitting it with the weed whacker. Well, geothermal is everything is inside your home. It's just like your refrigerator. It's very efficient. The average lifetime is about 25 years. So it's really super efficient, and maintenance is very minimal. It's a sealed system, so there's not much maintenance at all.
Earl Post on Green TV talking about geothermal, heating and cooling, renewable energy. Earl, if people want to reach you, phone number, a website, an email address, tell us.
Sure. Again, my name is Earl Post. You can reach me at 410-984-2122. Again, 410-984-2122.
What's that email, Earl?
It's epost@harveyhoddle.com. And if you mention this TV show via phone or email, I'd be happy to give you a little bit extra attention, and how about a little extra credit?
That is sweet.
Well, bless your heart, Earl. Thank you. Green TV thanks you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Describe how the installation of geothermal goes for us. So
Sure.
you go out to somebody's house, you write up a contract, then what happens?
It's a process. It's not an event, by no means. For any investment, it's a process. So what I would suggest is that when we come out, it's very important, and I want to make sure it's very clear that to do a proper geothermal estimate and proposal for someone, you really want to make sure that individual or company comes out and does a full manual J load on the home, and they calculate all the windows and doors and the envelope of the structure, okay, the insulation values and so forth, because with not knowing that, they really can't tell you what size of system that you currently need. And the Department of Energy even suggests to you that all retailers or installers should do that before they try to sell you or advise you or consult you on any geothermal installation.
Like buying a pair of shoes, if you don't know what size of shoe you're going to wear there, right?
Well, what happens is you have companies that will guess, and they're not correct, and geothermal is not a cheap endeavor, so we want to make sure that we get it right the first time. And knock on wood, never had a complaint, never had a call back and said, hey, I made a mistake. They've all been very happy clients, and as yourself. So
I am happy. And Kate, you had mentioned, you had asked Earl and just moments ago about maintenance cost. And I guess it's 5 years now that I've had the geothermal, and I have paid on maintenance cost exactly $0.
Oh, that looks like a nice digit to me.
Yeah. We actually at Harvey Hoddle will actually give you the first year free preventive maintenance. We'll come out the first year. We're going to make sure that that we did what we said we were going to do when we said we were going to do it. Make sure that you're happy. Make sure it's functioning the way that we promised. And make some adjustments or whatnot. And we fully guarantee our systems as well. So it's a, you know, it's a process. It's one of those things where we want to make sure that when we install it, obviously we know we're not going to get a lot of maintenance from you, but what we do want to get from you is a referral or a wow or a thank you that, you know, and the thank yous are your referrals to your friends and family.
Well, thank
it's very
you.
important.
Thank you again, Earl Post and Harvey Huddle, for my own great geothermal heating and cooling system that has put a lot of money in my pocket in those intervening years. Now, Earl, after you go out and you measure for the system, then what happens? You've gone out, you've measured, you're sure, you've checked everything. What happens next?
Sure. After we've done the proper load analysis, then what we typically do, we'll come out and consult with you and give you all your different options. You know, obviously every homeowner and every family is different. Their wants and needs are all different. That some have allergies, some have asthma, some, you know, humidity issues in the home. So every situation is a little different. So what we really like to do is sit with our client and their family and discuss what their wants and needs are. And then what happens is we circle back and we put the best solution together to fit those needs. It's real important that we do a lot of listening, if you will, especially during that process, because that's where we're going to be able to help the family not only save money, but have a more healthier home. Because it can, you know, we can put air cleaners on to really make your home healthy. And so there's a lot of different things that are involved in the HVAC.
From start to finish, from when you come out, you take a look, how quickly would the installation of a geothermal heating and cooling system go, would you estimate?
From the time the proposal is signed, I usually say a 45-day window. Typically takes 2 weeks for a permit process. Our driller that does fantastic work, Conley Drilling, and they're in Frederick, Maryland. They do probably 99% of our drilling. Fantastic people. They'll come out, they stake it out, they call the county or municipality, wherever you are located. They'll come out. It's about a 2-week process. There are some places that are not so fast. And then it's about 2 weeks after that permit is issued that we can get a drill rig and drill the loops in the ground, clean up all the mess, put it all underground, seed and straw it, never know we were there. Once that process is done, it really only takes us about a day or two just to come in, replace the equipment, install the new equipment, and attach to the loop. So the real time frame is the drill part and the cleanup of the yard and so forth. It gets a little messy, but you know what? At the end of the day, as you well know, it was a pretty fantastic endeavor.
It is indeed, Earl. One of the things that I found so funny, Kate, Earl, my neighbors. I was working when you all came out and installed my geothermal, and some of my neighbors are retired, and they had come over and watched, and they knew more about it than you know. I'd read the manuals and stuff, but they'd seen it, and so they knew more about it than I did.
Did you get more clients?
Yes, actually, absolutely, absolutely, and you will absolutely we did, and I greatly appreciate that. Absolutely, thank you very much for that. And I will tell you that, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've never seen the momentum, the sense of urgency to get geothermal, solar, you know, just being part of that movement. And you know, I was kind of always standoffish looking at it and saying, you know, it's a fad, it'll go away, but it's really starting to come alive. And I run mostly the things that I do mostly design and consulting. I find that it used to be 20% of my clients were geo, now it's 90%. I mean, I would say 90% of the people that I talk to, I'm discussing geo, and I just had a client yesterday, 2 days ago, that they already had solar. Now they want to put geo in their home, and his bill was $25 a month, and he wants to install geothermal. Little tough to quantify, but at the end of the day, the utilities are paying him money. Yeah. So it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
How fast do you think it's going to expand, and when America will run on solar power completely? What do you think?
Well, you know, that's going to be that's a tough I have some personal beliefs, but that's we won't talk about that here. But I
It's a
will
tough
tell
one
you
to
that
guess.
that's a tough one to answer. But I will suggest to you that federally mandated energy solutions have to be presented and put out there in the market. Geothermal is a very viable solution. And Maryland legislation has passed the TREC credits, which I think is phenomenal, because what it's going to do is offset that federal credit, and it's going to make it affordable for the homeowner to be able to not only get financing and offer the financing programs that are available. And then at the end of the day, the savings.
Earl Post on Green TV, where we focus on positive green New Deal solutions, eco jobs for the economy, geothermal heating and cooling jobs, the topic today. A big election year coming up in Virginia.
Yes.
And this legislation for TREC credits, just like solar, certainly a theme of independent Green Party candidates who will be running for local, state, and federal office. How feasible? It's something that many independent Green Party candidates have long advocated for our local government buildings to go to geothermal. Just how big of a geothermal system can you heat and cool? Could you, the Fairfax County Government Center, for example, could we go to geothermal heating and cooling?
Absolutely. A lot of your federal buildings nowadays are, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty certain that they're all federally mandated to go to geothermal. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of commercial, large commercial geo. Credits are a little bit different. But the residential side, I just, like I said, I think that once legislation really takes a close look at that and figures out that, it's something they're going to have to do to make their mandate happen, their energy indifferences, but they're going to have to do that. So I think it's really important that they look at that. I think it's really important that they take the time out and consider that option that other states now are on board with. So,
independent Green Party candidates like Terry Modglin running for House of Delegates, Colonel Jim Leslie, Marine Corps vet, running for House of Delegates, Gail Farrell Parker, Joe Odo, the state chairman of the Independent Green Party, running for House of Delegates in 2015. These Independent Green Party candidates are advocating for cutting all taxpayer subsidies to fossil fuels, oil, auto, asphalt, cement, coal. David Freeman, the engineer who was on Green TV last week, called for a more radical solution. Now, the word is, I'm using the word radical. He wants to, and remember, he was an engineer who headed up the Tennessee Valley Authority. He's an attorney, the New York Power Authority. He called for it, that the climate situation is so urgent, Mr. Freeman said, that just like any other poison, carbon, fossil fuels should be outlawed. That just shows, I think, what some well-qualified, experienced scientists are suggesting. That, as a minimum, the positive solution means more growth for geothermal.
Absolutely, and like I said, we've seen a growth, just a tremendous growth in the geo market over the last couple of years with this federal credit that's going to start to diminish. But there are some offsetting factors that will continue to keep the geothermal world in the forefront of renewable energies, for sure.
And that is a question. The federal tax credit for solar, for wind, for geothermal expires in December 2016, I believe. So we're just coming into 2015 now. Do you think in your industry, Earl Post, that there will be a push for the legislature and the federal Congress to extend the renewable energy tax credit?
I think that they're going to have to take a really good, close look at that. And let me kind of side note this a little bit. I have a consulting business that I also do consulting and coaching, if you will, of HVAC companies, just simply because, I've grown my business and sold it successfully, that I'm still out there getting calls from companies, business owners that want to learn about geothermal, that don't know about geothermal, and they're not scared of the credit going away. They're not scared that the geothermal world is going to kind of diminish with the credit. A lot of people thought that, but I really don't think. There's a lot of manufacturers out there that are part of that solution, and they're not going to let this just go away. So, it's a good thing. I'm hearing from people in the industry that want to understand about the geothermal world and how to sell it, and there's also the individuals that are interested in getting it for their homes too. So.
Earl Post, we're down to just a minute and 20 seconds left in the show. Please, once again, if you would, tell folks how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about geothermal, heating and cooling, a positive green solution, and or your consulting business. You're a successful businessman, as you remarked, successfully grew your business, sold your business.
Yes.
How can folks reach you, Earl?
Sure. You can reach me again, Earl Post, at 410-984-2122. And you can reach me at either epost@harveyhottel.com, HARVEYHOTTEL, or you can also reach me at earlpost@rocketmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Fantastic. Earl Post, thanks so much for joining us today on Green Party Green TV to talk about the growth industry, geothermal heating and cooling.
Thank you for having me.
Kate Alexandrova, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks
It's a
for
pleasure.
watching.
Thank you all for watching Green TV, where we promote independent Green Party and Green Party candidates and positive eco-job solutions for the economy. Solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, conservation jobs. I'm Campbell. See you again next time on Green TV.